Probably will be on towards the end to probably have a meeting. I'm sure we'll have a meeting, me, you, and CJ. All right, see you.
And we are live here this evening with the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights, live as always at MW Productions. Race 2 of this new Season 2 tonight takes us to the Pocono Raceway for 74 laps around the Tricky Triangle before we determine this evening's winner. Hello everybody, welcome to MW Productions. My name is Evan Pocono in the broadcast booth for you here this evening. 74 laps at the Pocono Raceway is going to be the distance, but last week we got this second stint of our 2014 campaign kicked off with the race at the Dover International Raceway. 130 laps on the board for that affair. Jose Gonzalez able to walk away in victory lane with that one. Scott Simley comes home at a solid second position. Third, Stefan Marinak. Marinak able to walk away with 28 laps led. John Wilco fourth, Chad Schilling fifth, LD Sarabia able to come home in the number 6 spot. Rich Jett 7th. Ben Burnett coming home 8th. 9th, Edison Lima Jr. able to lead a lap. And leading 5 laps rounding out the top 10, CJ LaFair. 8 drivers would finish on the lead lap for that affair. No real mixes up at the top of the points because it is the points. Pardon me, in that order. Jose Gonzalez leads over Scott Simley by 3 points, and it's pretty much 1 point increments from there on back throughout the top 10 of the points. Obviously, top 10 in the standings. And then obviously we move forward to this evening's race at Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle, 2.5 miles, 74 laps long. Obviously going to be a very interesting race with all 3 of the corners at this racetrack being very unique. Obviously different banking in them. Going to make for an interesting race. Drivers going through the qualifying session right now. Fastest in practice was Scott Simley with a 53.544 in that 1 hour and 10 minute practice session. Other guys with some speed here this evening: Jose Gonzalez, CJ LaVere, Matt Lacrosse as well. Those guys all made appearances up inside of the top 5 in the practice session. But qualifying is going on. The drivers just past the halfway point in that, and they're going to be working past, trying to get down those final few times before we get ready for the drivers meeting and get things kicked off. We're going to go down now trackside for the promo video and get things kicked off.
New shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Jumpsuit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. Come around just as fast as they can. But every girl's crazy about a sharp dressed man. Watch, diamond ring. Oh, I ain't missing on a single thing. Conflicts, stick pin. Ask if I don't know to do you in. They come around just as fast as they can.
Hey, look here, beavers. You better hide your wives, hide your husband, and look here, both of you hide your kids, cause we're coming.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Looking sharp, looking for love. They come running just as fast as they can. But every girl's crazy about a sharp dress. they can. Every girl's crazy about it. Thank you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so brightly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's great glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Back live here at the Pocono Raceway as qualifying comes to a close, and this field for this evening's race has hit the grid, and we're going to get ready for this evening's race, but still a warm-up lap to get going. So let's talk real quick about the Pocono Raceway. You go to the corner of Long Pond Road and Andretti Road. That's where you find this place, tucked away in Blakesley, Pennsylvania. Capacity crowd 76,812, owned by the Matco Incorporation and operated by, actually it's a family-owned business, program back in 1969, opened shortly thereafter in 1971, formerly known as Pocono International Raceway, just now known as Pocono Raceway. The Tricky Triangle, obviously what it's called, is a track the size of Talladega, just about. It's 2.5 miles in length, asphalt surface, 3 turns. It's not like Phoenix where it looks like a triangle, but they still call it a 4-turn racetrack. It is 3 turns, different degrees banking in all of them, 14 degrees in turn number 1, 8 degrees in turn 2, and 6 degrees of banking in turn number 3, and all of them very different. But let's run you down through the starting order for this evening's race. Jose Gonzalez is on pole position. CJ LeVere going to be starting in second outside of row number 1. Matt Lacrosse in third. Scott Simley fourth. Ritz Jett in fifth. LD Serabia coming up in sixth. Scott Brotherton seventh. Brian Harvey starting eighth. Jay Horton, last car to take a time, starting 9th, Stephen Marinac 10th, Nathan Little 11th, Douglas Wyatt 12th, J. Randall Watkins looking into unlucky number 13th starting position, Ryan Vaughn 14th, John Wilco 15th, Edison Lima Jr. 16th, 17th, belonging to Stephen Herring, Frank Coons 18th, and Bobby Terrell rounds out the 19-car field. We now file out of corner number 3 and get ready to head down this long front straightaway and prepare for the green flag. Jose Gonzalez is the control car. Green flag is thrown from the flag stand, and we're racing and now off into turns number 1. Now with the 26 leading the charge on the inside. 21 Matt Lacrosse just behind him as they enter the corner. DJ LeVere on the outside lane.
Caution is out, caution is out. One step here right now, yellow, you have to turn your fan on.
And as our announcer has connection issues, bringing you the live coverage here. Jose Gonzalez still in the lead. Early caution, not sure what brought out the caution, but we are under caution now. Matt Lacrosse in the 21, he's in second position. CJ LeVere fell back to third. Scott Simley in fourth. Fifth is going to be Rich Jett, and sixth Scott Brotherton. They're probably going to hit the, well, they probably won't hit the pit just yet anyway, but they are going to line them back. You're watching the live broadcast from MW Productions of the Twisted Cup Tuesdays, and only where you can find the Twisted Cup Tuesdays on ITSR. We'll be right back. here we go. We're going to get this thing popping off once again. Now, one thing hopefully we get to see tonight that we didn't get to see last night, a little bit of fuel strategy out of these boys. So we're hoping for some green flag laps and maybe some green flag pitting if we can get to it. The iRacing fixed setup, extremely difficult to drive around this Pocono track, as a lot of these guys did figure out last night. And we're about to go green flag racing. 71 laps to go. 4 laps down out of 74. 1 caution for 3 laps as the pace car is about to make its descent down into pit road. Lights are off, and the green flag is in the hand of the flagman. Here we get going. And they are green flag racing. Not a lot of time between when the pit car goes down pit road and when the green flag waves. But we are racing once again. And we'll probably see him single file out here real quick. Jose is going to take a enormous jump out to the lead. Matt Lacrosse right behind him. CJ LeVere and Rich Jett and Scott Simley holding on for dear life as we make our way back through the pack. Rich Jett getting loose out of 1. That is one of the very treacherous places right there, is that turn 1. Seems like he does have that 36 machine under control now. J. Randall Watkins right in front of him. And as they make it around to complete one circuit around here at Pocono, that will mark the 70 to go, 69 to go mark. As they head back into treacherous turn number 1, see if anybody has any problems this time. Now coming out of 1, Jose gets through it just fine. Everybody else seems to be getting through it. Rich Jett found his way through it that time. Nobody on the brakes. That's good. Nobody spinning out, and the caution flag did not fly coming out of 1 that time. Jose is still your leader, running a current lap time of 55.173, and right behind him, the number 4 of CJ LeVere, a considerably lower time, about 0.4 of a second off of our leader Jose. Hopefully Jose can maintain that pace, and oh no! The 4 car of CJ LeVere spinning out towards pit road. And we seen him do this last night, actually. Of course, I seen him do it from the cockpit, but I seen him do it. And CJ's going to get that thing back out of the pit road. Oh, and he's going to spin it again. He spun it again. This is exactly what he did last night, except for last night he ended up barreling into the wall really hard and screwing up the car. The caution flag does fly now with 68 laps to go. We're only on lap 7 of 74, but caution flag does fly once again, and I'm guessing it's for probably something else that happened in the field. But CJ LeVere was the one we were watching at the time. No other problems in the field thus far. And just so you know, if I'm stalling out a little bit, I'm trying to do the broadcast and the announcing at the same time now that Evan Pocono isn't here. Evan Pocono was absent all last week and absent for a couple other jobs that he had, and then gets in here tonight and he's having nothing but connection issues. So now I'm all by myself, which is so much fun, let me tell you. So I'm doing the camera work and doing the announcing, but we're gonna make it fun. Whether or not you like it or not, we're gonna make this thing fun. Jose Gonzalez still your leader. We're gonna hit a couple commercials real quick. We'll be right back, going side by side with MW Productions, here live broadcast of ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesdays.
In a world where survival is the only rule and feelings have no place, where winning is everything and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
Back once again. You're watching the Twisted Cup Tuesdays on ITSR, brought to you by MW Productions, Axo Sanitary Services, Hippies Paint Shop, and Quick Car. Check out Quick Car for all your race car parts. Lights on the pace car are off. And we are about to go green flag racing. Just coming out, I believe, of turn 3. And Jose will set the pace as the field will come back down to green. Oh, no, that was turn 2. And you see, when you're doing the broadcast and doing everything all at once, Heaven, it doesn't really work out so well.
I don't think I'd have enough hands, let alone to do the broadcast on my own if I wasn't having to talk. That's too many buttons and stuff. So I'll let you get back down to the trailer. It appears my some sort of mechanical gremlins, electronical things have all been figured out. I can see the cars now. That helps. And we'll be going green here as the lights are off on top of the pace car. Jose Gonzalez is going to be bringing us back to the green flag down the front straightaway to take lap 11. Pace car hits pit road. Green flag nearly immediately after, so really not a lot of control for the leader as in comparison to some of the racetracks where they really have a large window to start this race. But Jose set sail off down into turn number 1 of 3, really takes off, opens up a good lead over Rich Jet, who sits second into 36. 36 looks a lane higher, down and now out of turn number 1. Look at the big run by the 41 of Nathan Little down the long pond, the back straightaway, 3,055 feet long. This straightaway is, and then more of a short shoot between 2 and 3. They're going to go down now into the tunnel turn 41 with the inside advantage. Nathan Little trying to get the job done side by side. 26 of Jose. He's going to remain up next to the outside wall. Now down the short shoot and into turn number 3. Big, wide, sweeping 6-degree turn. Before they hit that wide front straightaway bobble from the 41 Nathan Little, that's going to give the advantage, and Jose Gonzalez is able to get it on the high side. 36 of Rich Jet, who sits in 3rd place now after the 41 got around him on that last time when we went back green flag racing. Sits back in 3rd, gave a little bit of a shot to Nathan Little as the top 3 negotiate turn 1. Scott Simley sits comfortably in 4th, nobody really around him. 5-car Douglas Wyatt, position 7, catches the wall at a turn number 1, allows the 24 of Stefan Marinak to get around him, and Marinak actually with a huge run is going to go all the way to the inside of Jay Horton and around him. Now as we get to contact, 77 spinning into the wall and wrecking in turn number 2 as Jay Randall Watkins just goes in there too hot, but just nails the left rear of the 5 machine. 5 gets turned around. That was Douglas Wyatt. We talked about how he just got in the wall. Might have been trying to get back up the speed still. Gets sideways, and the 77 kind of drives in there with more speed than him. Gets into the left rear. 66 squeaks on by. 28 tries to, and that is Ryan Vaughn. Ryan Vaughn going to pick up some heavy left front damage. Spin the 5-car around a couple of times. 28 looks like he was going to have a little bit of damage, and now he actually blows the engine. Ryan Vaughn just lost the engine going into the corner under the caution flag. I was going to say, it looked like he had left front damage from the incident, and then it disappeared on the sim shortly after, but he just blew something going down into the corner under caution. Staying high, and appears to have lost that engine going down into turn number 1. Again, we are under the caution flag. He is slow and off speed down on the bottom of the racetrack. So 28 of Ryan Vaughn with problems we saw earlier. In the most recent caution before this, the Ford of CJ Levere spinning it out, trying to get back up the speed, and spinning it out once again, trying to get back up through the gears nice and quickly on his number 4 machine. So this is going to put us into our 3rd caution of the evening. We're working lap 13 under the yellow flag at Pocono Raceway, and Pocono, obviously, the tricky triangle, and obviously known for its distinct shape. 3 turns, nearly the size of Talladega, the size of Daytona, 2.5 miles in length. And when most people talk about the largest tracks, excuse me, on the NASCAR circuit, obviously Talladega, Daytona going to be on the list. But many people often forget tracks like Pocono, 2.5 miles in length, which makes for some pretty lengthy caution laps in between green flag runs. This track can give you green flag runs. Again, not the largest field on hands. We had 19 cars start this race, a couple of them coming down pit road. Right now, our leader stays out, Jose Gonzalez, Nathan Little, a couple of the guys, but a handful of cars coming down towards the rear end of the lead lap to come in, get some fuel and tires. Bobby Terrell is on pit road. CJ Levere appears to be the first car that led these guys down pit road, and anticipate the majority of them to take 4 tires and fuel. Frank Coons just now exiting the pit road in his Camry. Did not make it to his pit stall, appears to have missed it. So expect the 48 to swing back around the next time and make his stop. But 18 of the 19 cars that started are on the lead lap, and one of those 18 is not on the racetrack right now, as Ryan Vaughn, again after picking up that front end damage. Long pace lap, so it hasn't come up on the scoring pylon yet, but he will lose his lap once the field rounds around one more time. He is not on the racetrack. He's back. Adam Penny Garage here. Adam Pocono. So as Vaughn sits in the garage area, Jay Randall Watkins' team is officially dropped out of this race. They will receive a DNF. And again, that'll attributing to that incident in the tunnel turn. Tunnel turn is very interesting when you try to go too wide through it. And when you enter too wide, you can kind of have a little bit more of a better judgment point on those other drivers near you. But when the 77 tried to make it a too wide instance, the 5 really didn't come down at all. 77 clearly pushed up the hill and might have even caught the fence if the 5 wasn't there. Just misjudged the turn, and it's so easy to do so at this racetrack, and obviously making contact. And the 77 wasn't one of the cars with the most damage, and he took the tow back to pit road, but has decided that his night is done. He will finish 19th with that DNF. Ryan Vaughn still not out on the racetrack. He now goes 1 lap down as J. Ronald Watkins goes down 2. One official retiree in this race. Douglas Wyatt is the last car running on the lead lap, that he is in the 17th position. So nobody down laps that is currently in the race. Wyatt coming around right now. He paces through 1 and 2 as freshly leaving pit road for some damage repair on the 5 machine also. He had been down there for quite a few laps. He left pit road right when our race leaders came around, and that's a strategy that these guys that have been caught up at these early race incidents are going to have to use to try to get back up there. And it is the fact that they're going to have to wait, come down pit road, and as soon as that field starts to creep up to the start-finish line behind a pace car, got to take out, swing back around once again, and then re-enter pit road and try to get about a... I mean, you can get a lot. These guys running about 2-minute, 9-second pace laps, so you can get a fair amount of damage repair done. Maybe aim for maybe a minute 30, minute 45. You got to take off, go around, and re-enter. But a long night, 74 laps on the board. We're currently working lap 15. So those guys that have damage, that are still, for all intent and purposes, in this race, but that are going to be running around at the back of the pack, to make that feel even longer for them for sure. Lights are off atop the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. We are going to be going back green this time by to take lap 16. Will be once again Jose Gonzalez up in front row, this time side by side with Nathan Little. 41 Haas machine made that great run on that last restart after starting in 3rd and nearly took the lead. Was unable to get it on the tunnel turn. Let's see what they do this time. Byfield exits turn number 3. Pace car gets ready to dive down to the safety of pit lane. Green flag flies. We're racing Jose Gonzalez on the loud pedal, once again electing to take the inside lane, and gets a good jump on Nathan Little. Nathan Little having a little bit of electrical issues there, drops back a little bit. Rich Jett able to go up to the number 2 position. Matt Lacrosse was able to get around Nathan Little as well. So Nathan Little starts 2nd and enters turn number 1. Back and forth with company behind him, the 24 car of Stefan Marinak wants a piece. They're going to go at it side by side for position number 4 as everybody in front of these guys single file for the time being. The 24 is going to be clearing the 41. The 41 gets off the gas. Nathan Little allows the 24 to clear him. Did not want to force a too wide down into the tunnel turn if it would not be necessary. Again, that corner very treacherous, very easy to make contact because of the way you have to attack it. And again, all 3 of these turns being different degrees in banking, different corners themselves, different radiuses. Very, very challenging for all these drivers. But that turn 2, that tunnel turn in between the long pump straightaway and the short stretch on the back of this racetrack, definitely one of the hardest of these 3 to say the least. 21 machine gets split as Matt Lacrosse didn't have a good run off that 6-degree bank turn 3, and he got split by both the 41 and the 24, and the 41 going to complete the pass on Nathan Little now in turn number 1 as he was on the high side, was able to slide down in front of him, protect his position. But it is all Jose Gonzalez up at the front of the field after starting on pole position. Continues to sit there right now. CJ Lavera again qualified 2nd. We saw his troubles on the front straightaway in his number 4 ITS Racing Chevrolet. Spun it, tried to get back away, spun it again, brought out the caution. He's going to be trying to pick his way through the field. He's done a fairly good job so far in the limited amount of laps that he has had back on a racetrack. He sits 10th right now and could be closing in and shooting for a couple more spots not too long here, because it looks like he's got a little bit of a momentum on Bobby Terrell. Terrell in the 7 machine riding along just behind Brian Harvey. Him and Harvey have been kind of duking it out for this number 8 spot. the last couple of laps, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can afford to. 66 slides high, 4 of CJ Lavere to the bottom. He's going to get the number 9 spot. No, they're going to stay side by side. 66 over on the top lane. Harvey with no speed and going down to the tunnel turn. CJ Lavere will get it now. Caution on the racetrack. Somebody having some trouble somewhere. Race officials throwing the caution. It's a 62 of John Wilco running in the unlucky number 13th position on the racetrack. Looks like a self-spin. And it is that indeed, a very interesting issue for sure. It looks like he was coming down the front straightaway, and we'll get the replay so make sure that all you guys can see that. But going down into turn number 1, definitely had a bobble, recovered from it, and then almost similar to what we saw with CJ Lavere. Once he picked the gas back up, car went right, he overcorrected to the left, spun it out, and he was able to save it, keep it out of the inside guardrail. Nobody else got into him, but he did get back going, and there is a substantial amount of damage that he saved on that 62 from locking it down and not going right back up in front of traffic. So 62 with John Wilco able to hang on, but he's going to break out a caution once again. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break. You're watching Twisted Cup Tuesday nights on MW Productions from Pocono Raceway. And back live here at Pocono Raceway. Lights off on that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car up at the front of the field. One more time around, and we're going to get back to some green flag racing. Targeted lap, going to be lap 23 when we take the stripe to take the green flag. You're watching the TSR Twisted Cup 2s, and Nights live as always on MW Productions. My name is Pocono, in a broadcast booth here this evening, and it is the 36 of Rich Jett that's going to make an appearance. He is at the number 1 spot and will be leading our field back to the green flag in his number 36 alongside Matt Lacrosse. Matt Lacrosse could be joining him on the front row 26 machine. Jose Gonzalez leading before the caution came down pit road at a little bit of a different time, as I did a little bit of different sequences and everybody cycled through a little bit of different time. So he now finds himself, once reading the race, in the number 4 spot. So Jose going to try to work his way back up. 21 of Matt Lacrosse right now, having a little bit of fun with the pace car. Trying to draft the pace car, maybe get some of that debris off of it. This is Pocono Raceway now. We're going down the short chute, so a little bit more until we get to that green flag and get back green flag racing. But this is the first part uno, 74 laps at Pocono Raceway, because we're going to have another trip here in this second segment of the 2014 ITSR Twisted Cup Series campaign. Got a couple races in between now and then. Before then, we're going to be going to Michigan, followed by Infineon, Kentucky, Daytona, Loudon, Indianapolis, and then Pocono. So a fair amount of races, about 6-7 races before we do return, but we are going to make 2 stints at Pocono. Here we go, pace car down to pit road. 36 is off, Rich Jett, and the Godzilla Chevrolet gets a good jump, about 3-4 car lengths. Matt Lacrosse wants the number 2 spot from the 3 of Scott Brotherton. Brotherton started in 3rd, tries the challenge. He has to back out of it, being on the inside, and he slows down a little bit too much. 26 of Jose Gonzalez gets around by the outside lane. 41 of Nathan Little. 68 now wants around. That's Scott Simley as well. They're all going to do it. And the 3 of Scott Brotherton, after being in what many would consider one of the better starting positions, 3rd, typically 3rd, gets a better restart than 2nd. He's actually going to drop way back behind Simley in what appears to be position number 6. The 4 of CJ LaVere wants a spot. He's side by side with Jay Horton for position number 8. LaVere to the bottom is going to get it. A little bit of a wiggle. Does the 83 cross him over? No. CJ LaVere gets back to the loud pedal nice and quickly, coming off of turn number 3. And CJ LaVere is able to advance his position and will move up to 8th. Jay Horton falls back to 9th into the clutches of Stefan Marinak, where those 2 drivers will attempt to do battle for their positions. One more battle on the racetrack. It's the 11 of LD Sarabia. He wants that position from the 24. 24 gets held up as Marinak is stuck behind the 83 of Jay Horton on the outside lane. That allowed LD Sarabia to get a run on the inside, and he cleared the 24 of Marinak. He's side by side with Horton going into the tunnel turn. 83 lets him go, and LD Sarabia going to be the big winner in all that, as it looked like the 24 of Marinak was actually trying to set up to make a pass on Jay Horton. Horton too slow, and the 11 jumped on the opportunity, and by the time the 24 wanted to look low, Sarabia had a position, and he's going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But the 24 is coming back strong at the outside lane. Stefan Marinak side by side with the 11 of LD Sarabia, going up high and down this long front straightaway. Marinak able to get that spot back, so Sarabia still gains 1. Marinak still gains 1 as well, and Jay Horton becomes the big loser in all of it, as he drops from 9th to 11th after just sitting 8th not too long ago, where CJ LaVere took that spot from him that last time by immediately following the restart. We got a big cluster of cars up front, all of them trying to get to the number 1 spot, and it's Rich Jett who was first. He's now back to 4th. 3 cars in front of him now trying to lead this lap, going down into turn number 3. 36 still kind of stuck at the high side. That was Rich Jett. 21 took an opportunity to look low. No, he can't look at 36. Rich Jett battling hard on the outside for 3rd. He'll get 3rd. He was first that last time by, and this time by once again Nathan Little, continuing his abilities and showing him off that he's able to sneak through this field and return back out to the number 1 position. And he puts that Haas machine back up into the number 1 spot, but Jose Gonzalez into 26. It's big wreck, 36. Rich Jett around from 3rd. Heavy contact, caution. gonna fly. And I thought I saw a wiggle back there, and it's a huge pile up as the 36 of Rich Jet loses the handle, gets also sideways, coming off the corner like we'd seen many times before. However, this time the 68 and Scott Simley nowhere to go. And man, 68 tries to slow down. Simley gets into the 36 of Jet, turns Jet into the outside wall. 21 right on the back bumper. The 68 of Simley turns Simley around. And then the 36 of Rich Jet gets nailed by the 3 of Scott Brotherton, who was trying to make it through that. And at least 4 cars going to get significant damage at a turn number 1. Rich Jet claiming the cause of the caution, claiming responsibility. But we had seen many times before somebody get sideways in that position and they just spin it out and get on going. However, because of that group of cars that was battling there up at the front of the field, and the fact that it was up at the front of the field, there were many cars that needed to make it through that positions, make it through that racetrack later on. The fact that that spin happened up there is going to attribute to the fact that instead of being another single car spin where they keep it off the wall, keep everything nice and clean, is going to cause it a 4-car incident where a handful of fast cars are going to get tore up in it. Matt Lacrosse has damage. The 21 machine, he was 5th at the time. Taking the access road, obviously showing intent that he's going to come down pit road. As soon as it is opened by the ITSR officials. "15 cars remain on track. Frank Kuhn's last car on track right now, the 48 machine. We expect the drivers to come down to get repairs on pit road. And here we go. Nathan Little fakes actually from the front of the field. Jose Gonzalez fakes as well. Matt Lacrosse going to come in. He was going to come in anyways. He has damage to get fixed. Jose Gonzalez fakes and stays out. Matt Lacrosse again leads them down, and CJ LeVere is going to be the first car without damage or significant damage from that most recent incident to hit the pit road. He's followed by Marinak coming down, Jay Horton, Douglas Wyatt into his stall, Scott Simley down pit road for damage repairs, obviously on the front of the 68 machine. Scott Brotherton having damage from being a late victim, and it looks like they're going to push the 3 machine behind the wall. Edison Lima Jr. down on pit road as well for 4 tires. The 11 machine of LD Saravia as well. So a little bit of a split decision, but faking him out going up at the front of the field as Nathan Little made it look like we were all going to come down. He fakes out. We see a couple drivers stay out, including the likes of Jose Gonzalez, Wilco Terrell. Stephen Herring also stayed out, and then pretty much everybody from 5th on back came down for either A, damage repairs, or B, fresh tires and fuel. In the 21 machine of Matt Lacrosse down pit road for damage repair. And is actually Matt Lacrosse going to have that damage to now attribute to and going to be forced to attempt to fix. As Scott Brotherton has taken it behind the wall. His night officially is done. Jay Horton officially done as well. His car retired from this race. Rich Jet, Jay Horton, Scott Brotherton, 3 cars involved in that incident out of the 4. And they are all officially behind the wall. We'll wait for the scoring update to get an official count. But so far, the drivers that have been taken out of this race from incident, Jay Randall Watkins is 15 laps down, and out of this race appears that he will finish in 19th. 18th, Ryan Vaughn out of this race 13 laps ago. 7 laps ago, Brian Harvey in the 66 left the racing surface. 16th on the racetrack, Rich Jet is out just 2 laps ago after being involved in that incident. After running strong up at the front of the field, Scott Brotherton, an innocent victim in this most recent incident as well, sitting 15th. He is no longer in the race car. And Jay Horton, 14th, is no longer on the track as well. So that would mean 13 cars do remain in action. Matt Lacrosse, last car on track, and he has actually just pushed it just seconds ago, was on pit road for those damage repairs. He talked about the fact that he blew his engine. He is now behind the wall, and he will retire as well. So 13th position, Matt Lacrosse, no longer on the racetrack, which means 12 drivers remain in contention for this race. The light's still up on top of Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. As we start to close in on the halfway point, we'll be in the range of, or at the range of about lap 37 and about 8 laps or so. We'll reach the halfway point in this evening's affair. ITSR Twisted Cup Series Tuesday nights live on MW Productions here under the caution flag. If you're just tuning in, again, we went through a list of cars that have been taken out of this one. At least 7 cars out of action from a string of yellow flags here in these early laps, about 4 or 5. So far to this point, Nathan Little is your current race leader, and his car has been showing a lot of speed in the 41. He hasn't been up front all night. Qualified in 11th, did not put a time down, so the sim put him in 11th to start his race based on his practice speeds of 11th position. Started this race, and we've seen a couple of times where he's making up about 2-3 spots in one turn, get right up there to the front, but was unable to do so, and this last time able to capitalize and get to the number 1 position, faked out on pit road. So that's another thing you're going to have to keep in mind, is the fact that a couple of these drivers are going to be on some fresh rubber back at mid-pack to the back of the lead pack, and everybody else is going to be on old tires, including our race leaders. But again, it really hasn't been close, and the idea that our whole field really hasn't been bunched together. The top few cars able to break away pretty quickly, so expect Little, Gonzalez, and include Terrell and Laverne in that as well to be very quick on this restart, which may help them when it comes to the fact that those top 3 did not come down pit road. As we are doubled up, the lights are off for the base car, so we're going to go green to take lap number 31. 74 here at Pocono Raceway. Again, CJ Lavera has had an up and down night already. Qualified second, spun, went to the back of the pack, bringing out the cause of a caution after having a couple of spins down there on the front straightaway. Made a pit stop, couple of pit stops. Did come down pit road this most recent caution, so he is the first car on fresh tires, you would think, in the number 4 machine. Made a couple of stops and now finds himself again back up inside of the top 5 after having some, they don't want a green flag run to do so, but the way these yellows have fallen, the way that the amount of cars that have been involved, all these cars that are in front of him in position, has helped him out, and CFCJ in the 4 car, sitting in 4th, will be able to capitalize, but the other 4 car, 41, sitting in position number 1, Nathan Little, is going to be the control car on this restart as the field enters turn number 3, getting set for this restart. Not a lot of time. Again, the control car leader has from when the pace car hits pit road to when the sim throws the green flag. Typically, at some tracks, that'll give them like 10 seconds of time. Not here. Nearly as soon as this pace car hits left to hit pit road, the green flag is going to fly, which would in theory hinder his ability. Let's see what Nathan Little can do.
Green.
He starts up first. Green flag flies. He has to go right away. You can see kind of catches everybody else off guard just a little bit. Slow restart by Jose. We're going to go 3 wide. Down the front straightaway, Bobby Terrell on the inside lane. Don't know if he's going to try to force that position. No, he's going to back out of it. 2 wide between Jose and CJ Lavere. Force the number 2 spot. Coming off of turn number 1, 26 for the good run to 4 of Lavere's got to check up a little bit. At a 26 of Jose Gonzalez is able to clear the 4 of CJ Lavere and retain that number 2 position. A car length back to CJ and a car length back to the 5 machine who goes way high. Douglas Wyatt trying to hang on to his machine. But Jose still trying to recover. He's in second. He's got a big run on the 41 right now. But Nathan Little able to recover at a turn number 3. And that's really a thing about the especially corner number 3. Corner number 3 is the widest, the broadest, it's the flattest as well. So you really got to pedal your way around there. As some guys will throw it in a lot deeper, but that may hurt their exit. The other guy will get a little bit of a better exit if he takes a little bit of an easier entry into that corner. It is 2/10 separating the top 2. The whole field leaders on the lead lap. That's 12 cars And 062 in the wall. John Wilco, one more car now spinning to 12 into the grass. That's Edison Lima Jr. Again, turn number 1, the exit of that corner has been calamity corner this evening. 12 getting sideways, able to hang on, but Edison Lima Jr. going to drop from 10th to 12th. In the process of that, obviously. But he is able to hang on. We have a battle for the lead. 26 of Jose. Looking to the inside. It's Jose Gonzalez. Not quite there because he stuck the nose out. Didn't use most of the draft that he could have gotten. Going down into turn number 1. It's just all Nathan Little. But Little is under attack. 26 of Jose. Rides a little bit lower. Wiggle by the 41 on corner exit. 41's going to go down to block or protect the inside, or he's going to let him go. Nathan Little sticks his hand out the driver's side window there, and he's going to wave him on by. So new race leader, lead change down the back straightaway. It goes to Jose Gonzalez. Nathan Little was unable to hang on to it. The 41 looks real loose in corner number 1. Trouble for the 5 of Douglas Wyatt. Was running in 8th, a self-spin, and it looks like he may have made, hard contact with the inside wall for Douglas Wyatt. And he sits way back in the back right now. He's going to have to bring it in, and that may be it for hippie Douglas Wyatt. He is going to come down pit road this time. But tough break for Douglas Wyatt. No caution because he was well off of the racing surface. Did not come spinning back up the track. Just kind of pancaked the left side of his race car. Got back going. But that's really going to hurt the 5 machines run tonight. Douglas Wyatt coming into the number 1 pit stall for starting in last. Started last in 18th, so he gets that first stall on pit road. That car pretty torn out left side with heavy damage. The team is taking a look at it and seeing what kind of damage time it would need. Jose is looking at that information. The sim will tell you how long you're going to have to sit there till it'll fix it, till as good as it'll get. Typically, you'll see a lot of guys sit down there for a long time and eventually just put it behind the wall. We saw that with Matt Lacrosse. Sat down there for a couple laps and eventually retired, but the 5 of Douglas Wyatt has gone down his lap. After making contact with the inside retaining walls after having a self-spin. Looked like at a turn number 2, the tunnel turn. We have seen a lot of trouble. Again, these drivers still adjusting to a relatively new tire model, which appears to be very loose at every racetrack you want to put it on. Especially on corner exit, just very touchy, especially with the horsepower that these Gen 6 cars have, the Fords, the Chevys, and the Toyotas. Nonetheless, these drivers really trying to settle into a green flag run here. Jose Gonzalez up in first has opened up about a second lead over Nathan Little. Nathan Little again waved him on by and allowed him to go around him about 2-3 laps ago down the back straightaway. He has not looked back. Jose sitting out there. Nathan Little still able to hang on to the number 2 spot. His challenger is CJ LeVere. LeVere, again, started up front, knows that he has speed in his car. We know that he has a fast car for sure, and he's going to try to pick away at that, try to get back up to the number 2 position. But he's not making up a lot of time, and more importantly, even if he was making up time on Nathan Little, he's not making up any time on Jose Gonzalez, who holds a spot that everybody's going to be wanting to aim for, and that is the number 1 position. Jose sitting pretty comfortable right now. And again, just 1.5 laps away from the halfway point or so. Actually, this is the halfway point right here, lap 37. Currently in the works for our race leaders. The amount of cars on the lead lap has been cut down to 11. Last car on the lead lap is Frank Coons. Coons running a little bit off pace in his 48 Toyota. A lot of damaged race cars on the track right now. A lot of them just trying to limp around. Again, they don't call it Tricky Triangle just because they were looking for a cool name for it, a nickname that obviously adapted itself because of the nature of the race and how difficult it is to be consistently fast at this racetrack. You can knock down, a hot lap, but to be able to run around this joint for 74 laps, be consistent, and walk away with it in the number one position when it's all said and done, it's going to show that you have rather tamed this track. Jose is doing what he needs to do. He's not overthinking it, just logging laps, and he's now extended that 9/10 of a second lead that it was about 2 laps ago to now 1.7 as he closes in and puts the 48 of Frank Coons down 1 lap. So Frank Coons, the only car on the racetrack now 1 lap down, and the only car that is not on the lead lap that remains on a racetrack, so he would go into a lucky dog position as they sit right now. Douglas Wyatt, who we left you with on pit road, is now taking it behind the wall, not officially retired from the race yet, but his machine, number 5 of Hippie Douglas Wyatt, after getting into the inside wall down the back straightaway, he is no longer on track. His night appears to be, in for all intent and purposes, is done. LeVere is up the second, and he's closing though on Jose. It's been cut from 4/10. There's now only 1.3 seconds separating the top two, which is now the 26 and a 4. Jose Gonzalez, CJ LeVere first and second respectively. Nathan Little starting to slide back in his Haas automation machine after looking so fast. About a couple cautions ago before he went back green, looked like he had the car to beat. The reason the 41 lost his position is the tunnel turn. And he got sideways and he knocked the wall down. And you can take a look at the 41 in his right rear. You can really show it the right side of the 41 machine of Nathan Little, who sits third, pretty banged up. He was third, got sideways, slid into the outside wall, and that is what allowed CJ LeVere to get around him. And Nathan Little, his lap time slowly getting slower and slower. He's about a 10th off of CJ LeVere, and the last time by CJ LeVere was about 4/10 off of Jose Gonzalez. But just like we saw with Nathan Little, you can put down a bunch of fast laps, but it's very easy to make a mistake. All 3 of these corners are different sizes, different bankings. They're all designed after different styles of corners. There's a corner here that's designed like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's another one that's based off of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So they're all very different. You just slip up just a little bit, just like Nathan Little did right there, and you're going to be stuck with a four-handling race car in what appears is going to be a long green flag run. Is not what you're going to want to have. You have a quick caution, you go down there, you get it fixed up as much as you can. 41 Nathan Little, it looks like that he is trying to limp that 41 machine around. Still running pretty solid lap times, but definitely outpacing. 41 with a big wiggle out of turn number 1, and he saves it. Had about 4-3 jabs at the wheel to try to hang on. He does so, but loses more position as Stefan Marinak in the 24 car gets around him. Next car back is Bobby Terrell in 4th. Or as Marinak sits 4th, rather, Bobby Terrell in 5th, wanting the number 4 position. However, and now caution on the racetrack, just as we were talking about our green flag run. 12 machine of Edison Lima Jr. is going to bring it out. It appears that it is going to happen in turn 3. Again, a big, wide, sweeping, flat turn. Gets sideways, tries to hang on to it, nearly does. Bends it down into the inside. Bam! Really smashes the inside guardrail. Really an odd angle to hit it at. 12 of Edison Lima Jr. He's destroyed. Tried to take the quick toe to pit road as soon as he could to avoid bringing out the caution. He does claim responsibility for it over the radio and back under yellow with 9 cars on the lead lap. Frank Coons, the 1 car, 1 lap down in the 48 machine. Expect him to get the lucky dog, but under this commercial break, we're going to step away. You're watching the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights live on MW Productions. You're going to have more from the Tricky Triangle coming up after this.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selection of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Central Ford.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of newer pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your newer pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
lights are off on top of the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car one more time around. And we're going to have another restart here at the Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights live as always on MW Productions. Race leader John Wilco in the 62 machine as a little bit of mixed strategies continue to play themselves out in this evening's race. When we go back green, it is going to be a 29 lap to go restart, passing the halfway point at lap 37 not too long ago before the caution and the commercial break. Jose Gonzalez has led this race. He's going to be restarting third at second row, and appears that all the drivers continuing to stay low. Frank Coons trying to catch up to the back of the field. He was at the front of the field, so he got a wave around when the field took the one to go. And he has hit the wall. Frank Coons has actually just made heavy contact with the outside wall under the caution flag in the 48, because he was one lap down, but when you're in front of the leader and you get a wave around, you don't gain a lap. And I believe he was trying to race his way around. The field was staying low so that they could wave him around back to the lead lap. But race officials have EOL'd him. But it appears that that's not going to happen this time, Pi. So we'll restart with 9 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap, CJ LaFair in the number 4 machine. Wilco waiting for the pace car to dive down pit road. He does so. 62 waits a little bit. Doesn't have that much time. It's not a different racetrack. Green flag flies. We're 3 wide. There goes that different restart box and an old tire combination. He spins the tires. Jose Gonzalez, the big winner. After starting second on the outside of row number 1, he's going to go up to the number 1 spot. Marinac restarted third, the inside of the second row. Spun the tires, but was able to snake his way, both figuratively and literally, to the inside and get around, and now he sits in the second position. Side by side for the number 6 spot. LD Sarabia has it. Had a couple of guys want it. The 68 of Scott Simley right behind him in 7th is on the high side and has just cleared him. So he's going to pick up that spot. Not too far in front of these guys is the 62 who led that last time by on the restart. John Wilco going to go from first to, as the scoring updates, 5th on those old tires. Everybody else single filing out nice and quickly here. Again, trying to make another green flag run at this thing, possibly all the way to the checkered flag. And now trouble John Wilco, the 62, smoke, heavy smoke pouring out of his Chevrolet, identical to what happened to Douglas Wyatt. And we're not going to get a caution on this one either. Bell spin at turn number 1, pancakes the inside wall, and a lot of smoke is pouring out of the 62 of John Wilco as he's going to keep his car low. He gets down to the grass, a little bit below the access road, to the grass, trying to just stay completely off of the racetrack. I don't think there's anybody immediately behind him that would be in any sort of position to get caught up with anything. As the 62, we anticipate he's going to come down pit road this time, and another one bites the dust. 62 John Wilco down pit road, but we stay green once again for the second time for that style of incident, as just a self spin. The contact is made well off of the racing surface. And now caution, trouble on the racetrack. Yellow flag going to be thrown. It's the 41. Nathan Little was running top 3, was running third, and his car just hasn't seemed to be the same since he caught the wall in turn 2, and it's going to be turn 2 that bites him once again. A little bit of a self-spin. Nobody else involved, doesn't catch a wall at all, but 41 does go around Nathan Little. Turn 2 has been the demise of the 41 now for the second time here this evening, and he was struggling with the handling on that race car, but was still hanging on to a top 3 position. And with that spin, he has accepted cause for it. He's going to take responsibility for the caution, which will result in an EOL for him. So he'll have to restart at the tail end of this lead lap of cars, which has been consistently diminishing throughout the evening. John Wilco currently being shown as the last car in the lead lap in the 62 machine. No longer has the heavy smoke pouring out of it. Did make a small trip down to pit road to get some repairs done. Expect him to come back down to get some more repairs done on his machine as well, along with Nathan Little. When you're fast, and that's the case right now with our race leader. 26 of Jose Gonzalez is still hanging on to it in the number 1 position. He's been up there all night, and he's had some instances where he has dropped back a couple of spots, that's been from a little bit of different cycles on pit road to just general strategy and a couple of cautions being thrown into the mix there. But the Puerto Rican Meatball Company Chevrolet, I call it, 26 of Jose Gonzalez, remains in the lead. Marinak wanted to go down pit road, didn't have enough time. Jose wanted no part of it, and Bobby Terrell going to lead us down. LeVere going to come down as well, so 3rd and 4th positions coming down pit road. They're going to be joined by Sarah Bia and Nathan Little. So these Sarah Bia and Nathan Little also coming down pit road. John Wilco in the 62 does not pit in his heavily damaged machine. He has lost a lap. So it has been cut down to 8 drivers who remain on the lead lap of this race. First part of 2 stints here at the Pocono Raceway with the ITSR Twisted Up Tuesday night racing. Talked about some of those races in between. We'll walk you through them again last week. Kicked it off at Dover for 130 laps this evening. Part uno, the first race at Pocono in this second segment on the 2014 campaign. Michigan next on the schedule next week. That's for the Bo Schembechler Memorial Race, brought to you by Quick Car. 80 laps at Michigan. Followed by the Putacorkin at 30. We're going to go road course racing, ladies and gentlemen, Infineon Raceway, Sonoma, California. For 30 laps. Followed by greener grass on the other side, Kentucky, for a 100-lap affair. Then we go back to the plate tracks, Daytona, for the Paint One Up presented by Hippie's Paint Shop and Quick Car at Daytona. We're also visiting New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We talked about one of the corners at this racetrack being based off of that speedway. Going there for the Fisher Cats Baseball 130 at Loudon. Followed by, and a little bit of a tribute to the lack of performance per se by the Indiana Pacers, falling short in the Eastern Conference semifinals, or the Eastern Conference Finals for that matter. And 1 round short. The Shooting Bricks Pacers basketball 70 at the Brickyard. We also then return to Pocono for part 2, 74 more laps. We go to Bristol for the Hold My Beer and Watch This, the Bristol Night Race, 150 laps, followed by our second road course race, Cruising the Glen 30. And it gets closed off at Michigan. So 2 trips to Michigan, 2 trips to road courses, 2 trips to Pocono. A lot of duplicate style races in this second segment. Race at Michigan, the Lions football, a hope for the Super Bowl 80. Wouldn't put money on that bet, but again, hey, they'll let anyone name these nowadays. They are better than segment 1, I will say. The end of segment 1 was starting to get a little bit interesting. Some of these race names. Lights still on the pace card here at Pocono Race, so I can once again run you through our results from last week. Was at the Dover International Raceway, 130 laps. Jose Gonzalez, he's up front looking to make it 2 for 2 because he went to victory lane last week, leading a total of 96 laps after starting in the number 5 position. Able to walk away with that win and put down the fastest lap out of anybody with a 22.51. So walking away with 45 points for winning plus 2 bonus. Scott Simley was able to come home second for starting in the number 3 spot. Didn't get a chance to lead any laps, only lost her by 4/10. Second back was the car that started first, able to come home third. That's Stefan Marinak. Sean Wilco in fourth. Chad Schilling rounding out the top 5. And however, Stefan Marinak receiving 5 penalty points. So out of the top 5 in the championship standings, 4 of them have top 5s. Part of the equation is Marinak, who was one of those machines when you implement his 5-point penalty. He sits 8th in the championship standings, only 8 back. Again, everything in the championship standings fairly close. Simley is in second, 3 points back from Jose, 4 points back. In third is Wilco, 5 points back. Chad Schilling in fourth. LD Serbi is fifth, 6 back. A lot of drivers not having nights that they were looking for this evening. They, at least 1 lap down, is John Wilco. We have 10 cars still roaming the racetrack, 9 of them on the lead lap. Nathan Little, last car on the lead lap. John Wilco 1 lap down, still trying to service his beaten and battered 62 machine in 10th, and then everybody else has been taken out from incident. This race has had its share for sure, but it also looked like that once we're about to get going on our green flag run, a mystery self-spin, and it all goes back to trying to learn this new tire model. And it seems like even over the past few weeks, it's been a couple of weeks, drivers still trying to figure out how to keep these race cars that all appear to be snappy loose on exit and on entry, for that matter, under control to the best that they can. Lights are off for the race car. Jose Gonzalez again in the number 1 position will be leading us to the restart. We saw wiggle from on our most recent restart from a car that tried to do it without fresh tires. Jose has them, so don't expect to see the drama, but who knows. Pace car to pit road, 26 takes off, green flag flies. We're back racing. Jose goes way down to the second last lane out of the 5 that are painted on this very wide front straightaway. Second place, no challenge. Third, no challenge. However, CJ LeVere fairly close to Scott Simley. Stephen Herring started 5th. He's lost a handful of spots in the 98. Like he may have dropped back all the way to 8th position. Side by side for 7th. Nathan Little wants it from LD. Sarah B is going to get it. Sarah B waves him on by when they were about to go too wide down into the tunnel turn. Sometimes these drivers figure it's just easier to just wave him on by and try to go get him on the next corner. In single file at the front of the field. In an attempt to finish this off on about a 22 lap green flag run. Marinak wants to steal it and wants to make up for those bonus points that he lost from the penalties received and handed down last week for incidents. It's 8 back from Jose right now, 1 back on the racetrack. Jose, however, looking for max points once again, trying to lead the most laps, trying to win the race, do it the right way without incident points. And for all the carnage that we've seen this evening, boy, this car's looking pretty stout, nice and clean. up at the front of the field. Everybody else behind him appears to have some sort of damage. Marinak with a little bit of front end damage on the hood. Same goes with the 68. Scott Simley, front end torn up after getting into the back of a sideways machine in front of him and getting turned around. DJ LeVere, another car that looking pretty good, and he may have another legitimate shot at this race. He's gone back and forward a lot this evening. He sits fourth once again. Started up front and dropped back, made his way back up front and dropped back a little bit most recently due to a little bit of varying strategy on pit cycles. He is right there as well, and the top four really not letting, more like the next three if you exclude our leader. So position second through fourth, Marinak, Simley, LeVere. We're not letting Jose check out. He has these past couple of times. He is right there. All these guys. Marinak half a second back. Simley about 3/10 off of him. They're about 3/10 off of Simley. So about 1.1 seconds between the top four. Biggest gap through them all is first to second. But Marinak could be playing it easy. We're going to buy some time. We hope that he can force a mistake from Jose Gonzalez. Force Jose to overwork his tires. Trying to find something that will give him the advantage that he needs in order to take over the number one spot. Frank Coons in risk of losing his lap. He is the last car on the lead lap in position number 9, 37 seconds off with Jose Gonzalez up at the front of the field. Marinak unable to close yet from second to first. Now CJ LeVere is starting to slip. So is Simley. Simley has lost 2/10. CJ has lost 2/10 as well. So their gaps up to the leader. But Marinak is holding strong. Let's see when scoring updates this time by. And he loses 2/10. CJ loses 7 while gaining a position. Simley loses nearly a second. And now it starts to look like it did the last few times. First couple laps here, these guys put up a fight, tried to hang with them. Jose is running his race, and he's just looking out at clean racetrack in front of him right now. He's doing work, and now it is 0.788 seconds that he has over Stefan Marinak to second. A comfortable lead. Looking for insurance. Seems like Marinak takes that final corner there a lot higher than Jose. Jose takes it about a lane down. Scoring updates give it 3 more tenths to Jose Gonzalez running 53.8. Only 2 tenths is he running off of pole position time. And Jose was significantly faster than anybody else in qualifying. Running about 3 tenths faster with a 53.69. You gotta think if he's running 53.85s at about a mile of a run, he's doing a solid job. Marinak's running only about a tenth off of second place's qualifying time. But again, Jose really in a league of his own all night long. Scott Simley was up there. Simley was the fastest car that we saw in the practice session. He sits in 4th, but I really don't think he's going to be able to be a challenger in this because of that front-end damage that he has. As CJ LeVere got around him a couple laps ago, 68 drawback, trying to close back in. It's about 2 car lengths that separate the top 2. or separate third and fourth rather. LeVere starting to inch and inch a little more. So I think that if you got to look at time-wise, consistency-wise throughout the race, Scott Simley, one of the guys you want to beat, and that one of the guys that will be in contention. However, with that damage that he has on his machine, don't count on it. 48 is off track. He just lost his lap. Talking about how he's been off pace with the right side damage. And another self-spin at a turn number 1. Down through the grass once again. Kept it off the wall. And again, since he did not come back up into the racing surface, no caution thrown by the sim or by ITSR officials. Gonna get back on track, but just adding a little bit of insult to injury for the 48 camp as they sit ninth. First car 1 lap down. 10 cars remain on the racetrack. 2 of them 1 lap down. John Wilco, the second car, 1 lap down in the 10th position. He's going to pass Coons this time by, so Wilco goes up to 9th. Frank Coons drops back to 10th. Those are the 2 cars 1 lap down. Rest of our leaders, last car on the lead lap, the 8th place machine of Stephen Herring, the 98, only 17 seconds back, so in no immediate risk of losing a lap. But this race continuing to wind down as Jose Gonzalez continuing to run, this time by a 54 flat. Still solid lap times. Marinak running a 54.4. And the gap remains about 8 tenths between the top 2. We're going to step away, take our final commercial break. When we come back, we're going to bring you within inside of 10 laps to go, and we're going to race it out to the checkered flag. Can Jose Gonzalez hold on? Stay tuned. You're watching the ITSR Twisted Tuesday nights on MW Productions. We're going to wrap it up from the Tricky Triangle after this.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
DGVertec.net's primary goal is to provide you with a successful website presence. They have purpose-built their web servers successfully throughout the years. The stress testing has been done so that they can provide you with an enhanced web hosting technology that they design for using future standards today for tomorrow. They offer 24/7 support for all web hosting plans. Their team answers support tickets 24/7, so if you have a problem at any time, an agent will be more than happy to help you. If you're not satisfied with your service within 7 days, then you can get a full money-back guarantee, with a 99 uptime guaranteed as well, with plans for shared hosting starting at just $2.95. It's clear to see why DGVertec should be your choice for web hosting. Just go to www.dgvertec.net today, your web hosting solution.
Back live, we were taking a look there on that side-by-side. The 7 Bobby Terrell was able to fight and get around the damaged 68 of Scott Simley. That was the battle for third. All eyes up front. Well, that distance getting bigger and bigger. Marinak has dropped now 2.8 seconds off of Jose Gonzalez after it looked like he was going to make a little bit of a charge, close the gap in from an excess of 1 second down to the range of about 7/10 before the break, but has since lost it back out to about 3 seconds that separate the top two on the racetrack right now. Lead lap driver starting to slow down as CJ LeVere now sits in the number 10 position with problems. He is down on pit road. And CJ, again, not too long ago, was up front inside the top 5. And now sits right now 10th position. 3 laps down, came down pit road, brought it into his stall, and is no longer on the racetrack. Frank Coons and John Wilco both were 1 lap down. They both now sit 2 laps down. They're the only cars not on the lead lap. Stephen Herring in the 98 remains the last car on the lead lap, which is now position number 7. As we are well within inside of 10 laps to go. Marinak continuing to slip back in the 24. It's now 3.4 seconds. Closest battle remains the battle for third, and that's the one that we've been primarily keeping an eye on. Just into the commercial break, we were on board with Terrell for a little bit. You saw he was able to make the pass off of Scott Simley off 3 down the front stretch on the inside. And Simley has been unable to battle back, especially immediately behind traffic with the damage to his machine. Now it looks like the 7 is going to pull away. That battle is going to simmer down as well and put us back into a state of logging laps and trying to close it down to the finish. Do we see a late race caution here that throws a curveball into this? We do, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon. With 74 laps on the board, Jose Gonzalez just took lap number 69 at 6 to go. And these cautions take anywhere from 3 to 5 laps, get registered and get us back to a green flag, but no overtime, no green white checkers. If anything's going to happen, it's got to happen this lap, or this race is essentially done and the next flag would end it. So at this point, you got to look at it as Jose Gonzalez's race to lose. He's looking to go back to back in the Cup side of things here. Again, he won last week. Get things kicked off at Dover, looking to make it back to back. Scott Simley ran 2nd. He sits 4th this week. Marinak ran 3rd, and he sits 2nd this week. So all the heavy hitters still here. They're showing what they can do. John Wilco ran well last week as well. Not the week that he's been looking for, but he has been battling this last half of the race with a damaged number 62 machine, and it still sits top 10 in the number 8 position as LD Sarabia goes around him. So Jose is just looking to close. He's up on the back bumper of the 48 machine of Frank Coons. Lap machine yields high. Coons grazes the wall a little bit. No harm, no foul. Jose gets by nice and clean. Not a chance. Jose Gonzalez this time by, takes 4 laps to go, and it's about 4 seconds. As here comes Bobby Terrell to the inside and around of Stefan Marinak. Marinak in the 24, tries to battle back on the outside in turn number 1. This is lap 71 of 74. Can't do so. And here comes Bobby, the closer, coming in here late in the going. Steals away second from Stefan Marinak. I don't think he's got enough time. He's way too far back to challenge Jose and can't really bank on using the caution to help him because it's just too late. We talked about all the things that could go wrong up front. Jose, it's his race to lose. We've seen self-spins. We've seen guys knock the wall down. He's doing what he needs to do right now. Marinak's not done with Terrell for second. Gets to the bumper, looks to the inside. Now 3 laps to go. Wants to go to the inside here into turn number 1. Does he force it in there? He's going to back out of it. 7 gives him a lot of room. Thinks again now. Marinak wants to get back up on it. Can't get it done. Backed off too early to yield room for Bobby Terrell. And Terrell will now regain sole possession of the number 2 spot on the racetrack. It's 2 car lengths that separate Terrell and Marinak. This time now down the Long Pond straightaway. Rather, they're in the short chute going through turn 3. Marinak looks high, tries to get a run down, gets sideways. Has to overcorrect it, and now he's going to lose momentum. Down the long front straightaway at 2 to go. Jose Gonzalez well in front of these guys. He's already diving it down into turn number 1. Terrell and Marinak now enter. And Marinak trying a couple of different lies. Tries to enter turn number 1 a little bit lower. We saw he took turn 3 higher, trying to find a way to get that extra speed, but he is only slipping further and further back. From Bobby Terrell. Now down the short chute, the back straightaway in between turns 2 and 3. Terrell, cool, calm, and collective. Marinak goes even higher, nearly out to the wall. Trying to find him a run, but it is a white flag for Jose Gonzalez. 2.5 miles to go back to back. And it doesn't look like much is going to amount in this battle for second. Marinak needs to find a little bit of extra juice if he wants to get to Terrell. Into the tunnel turn. Everybody through smoothly, and now all eyes transfer up front as Jose Gonzalez, for the final time through the flat, went wide turn number 3 around lap traffic, and now merges high onto the front straightaway. The 26 of Jose Gonzalez is going to come across the stripe and take the win at Pocono. Back-to-back W's for the Puerto Rican prowler of Jose Gonzalez. Bobby Terrell comes home with that number 2 spot. Marinak can't find enough speed at the end and drops to 3rd. All the drivers congratulate Jose Gonzalez on the victory. Nathan Little recovers for a 4th place finish. Scott Simley 5th. LD Sarabia just now crossing the stripe for 6th. And Jose Gonzalez attempting to push the 98 of Stephen Herring, who is the last car on the lead lap, attempting to push him to the finish. However, Jose slowed down before the finish line so the 98 would pass it before him. So Jose figures since he's got to go around to the stripe to do his burnout, he's gonna have a little bit of fun with it, and he's helping that 98 car out of Stephen Herring, having a little bit of fun there. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break. Jose Gonzalez, your big winner tonight in Pocono. We're going to come back with the post-race show, talk to the top 3, wrap it up, and get ready to send you off next week. We go racing once again from the high-speed Michigan Oval. Don't step away, the post-race show coming up next. Back live here at the Pocono Raceway. When it's all said and done, Jose Gonzalez able to walk away with the win. But first and foremost, down here on pit road, we've caught up with our third place finisher, Stefan Marinak, sitting in his pit stall right now and climbing out of the 24 machine. Stefan did not post a lap in qualifying, started 10th, and how are you able to make it work for a top 3?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the top 3. I built a new computer today, so I was in a rush to get the race started, and I just had everything set up at around 9:20, so I didn't get a chance to practice or qualify or anything, and I just rode around for the first part of the race and got a feel for the car, and then once I got comfortable with it, I started making a run.
You're able to do so. We saw a lot of drivers getting sideways off of turn number 1, a handful of self-spins, and quite a few incidents containing that corner. What is it about these cars that just makes them want to snap on corner exit?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the tire model or the setup. It's definitely one of the two, but it seemed like whenever you get back on the gas, it just wanted to spin out. And turn 1 was pretty hard, but I was having a lot of problems with turn 3. That's where I was losing all my time. Every time I hit a different piece of banking, it would just want to spin out. So I don't really know what it was.
Doesn't help that they make all 3 of these turns different. We saw you searching in turn 3 the last few laps, all the turns, trying to find a little bit of extra speed to get back up there at the end to catch Bobby. Weren't able to do so. Walk us through those final laps when he was able to get around you, and then what you tried to do to be able to get that spot back.
Yeah, I just tried to drive it as hard as I could because I was so loose. I was just trying to drive it to where I had to overdrive it and keep it as tight as I could. And I wasn't really sure where I was the best in turn 3. Like I said before, that's where they were all catching me throughout the race. And I think probably the fastest way we had was that dark seam toward the top of the track. But when I was catching Jose, the bottom was working, so it just seemed to change as the tires wore out.
And definitely, you're able to sneak away with a third place finish, backing up a solid finish that you got last week, which was third as well. So you're looking to improve on it. Back-to-back third place finishes, got to be solid. Who do you want to thank?
Sure, yeah, I want to thank my sponsor and biggest fan, Russell Crowe, for next to the track tonight. I also want to thank everyone at Fearless Racing, Hippie's Paint Shop, Axo Sanitary, the Meatball Company, and Quick Car.
Definitely 10-4. Well, congrats, back-to-back top 3s. We know you'll be looking to improve on that. We'll see what you can do next week at Michigan.
Thank you.
Is Stefan Marinak, driver of that 24 car, able to come home with a top 3 finish, making it back-to-back third-place finishes here on Tuesday night. Second place going to go to Bobby Terrell. Here comes Bobby. He came up the second place, coming late in the run with a drag charge. Not quite enough to get up the first. You guys were too far back, but walk us through that battle at the end. How were you able to steal that one from Stefan?
I think Stefan was getting his car was getting looser than mine. I was babying mine a lot tonight just because it's just so slick out there. And, at the end with, I guess 20 laps to go, I said, it's time to go. And I just started, pushing it more and more. I was kind of on the edge a few times, but I just kept pushing it, and it worked out. I got around him and got up to Stefan and got around him, so it worked out. This is like a win to me.
We talked with Stephanie working on a new computer. You didn't put down a lap in practice. You're not even on the practice boards, man. Started 19th, dead last in the field, and you're able to walk away with a third. So obviously proud of that. How'd you pick your way through this field when we saw a lot of guys have some rough nights?
Just like Stefan said, I just learned the car and learned the track as I went along and got more comfortable, as I went along and trying to, just find its limits, but this, it's just like Stefan said, whether it's the setup or the tire model, I can't tell you what it is, but they've messed it up for sure, and it's very difficult.
I definitely will. This is obviously better than the result that you got last week. 48 laps down in 16th, not what you wanted. This is more to your liking for sure, but still 1 point or 1 position short rather from the spot that you want. That's the number 1 spot. How confident are you going into next week in Michigan?
Well, Michigan's like a crapshoot anyway, but like I said, I'm not very good in this car, and I'll be honest about it. But I don't spend much time with it, but I want to get better at it, so that's why I'm here.
All right, 10-4, we'll be looking for you out there on those high bank sponsors. Shout out to everyone to thank. The mic's all yours.
I'd like to thank ITSR for putting on the series, and Steve and CJ for officiating. You guys up in the booth, and MW Productions and Hippie Paint Shop. That's all.
All right, 10-4, bud. We'll look forward to see what we can do next week in Michigan.
Thank you very much.
It is Bobby Terrell, driver of the number 7 machine, able to walk away tonight with a second place finish. Race winner Jose Gonzalez unable to come to the mic with us. It appears that we have CJ Lavere, though, for a moment. CJ, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm actually here for Jose.
All right, welcome Jose Gonzalez to the booth. He is not with us, but we have CJ. CJ, what do you want to talk about?
Jose just wanted me to let everybody know he had an awesome car thanks to me, his number 1 crew chief. I gave him a good set of tires and all night.
You gotta make. He always skips out on mentioning that when you come in, so it's good that you're able to defend yourself.
Yeah, well, we got to know that I put the tires on the car and the setup in it for him that put him out front.
It's all goes back to the team. So good thing, because I'm telling you, all the Jose Gonzalez fans were getting worried when he didn't come over for his interview. So CJ's here to pass on the message that a very kind and generous Jose Gonzalez gives him 100% credit to CJ Lavere. Is that correct?
That's correct, and he's got to thank his sponsors, the Meatball Company, of course. Got balls.
Got it on the car, yeah.
Oh yes, and got Axel Sanitary, Quick Car, Hippie's Paint Shop. Got to thank all them sponsors, MW Production, and you guys here in the booth.
All right, well, thank you, CJ. CJ Lavere coming up and making sure that Jose Gonzalez is he's felt represented. His thanks are said, and he is your winner, Jose Gonzalez, in the number 26 machine. Walks away. That is it tonight from Pocono. 74 laps for Part Uno. We'll be here again for a second time in this second segment in the 2014 campaign. Next time you can see ITSR Racing is Thursday nights for the Twisted B Car Series. Until then, my name is Evan Pasoko. Thanks a lot for tuning in to MW Productions. Michael Woolley down there in the production hauler. I know he had to come up here to the booth when I had to work on my electrical gremlins, but thanks for him for pushing the buttons, getting us on air, and we'll see you next week when we go Let's Go Racing from Michigan.